Mid-sip.
Are we allowed to drink on the podcast? Is that okay? All right.
Here's business and laws, man.
All right. We're live.
You can swear, just
We're
nothing
recording.
offensive, too.
My mom's going to see this. I don't want
No, but we are with Adam Alpert, one of the co-founders of Pangeaapp. You know, we are very happy to have you on. You know, Brown University alumni, a Providence-backed business. Tell us the 1-minute e-pitch of what Pangeaapp is.
One minute elevator pitch.
One little
you only get
elevator
1
pitch.
minute.
It's been a minute. I only got
And then-
1 minute. Are you going to time me?
No, but
Okay.
a loose 1 minute, but then afterwards, tell us about yourself as well.
Got it. Oh, let's see if I can do this. Pangea.app is the largest college freelance platform. We help college students and recent grads find part-time, paid remote work, working with startups, small businesses, emerging brands, doing everything from marketing to design to business operations, instead of flipping patties in the cafeteria. Since launching that platform in 2019, we've expanded to more than 1,800 colleges, and we're about to cross $1 million transacted on our platform. We are backed by some amazing investors, have raised $3 million a day, are based right here in Rhode Island. Our office is actually at Pawtucket. So our team is now 10 people, and we're tackling a market with 16 million college students who work part-time, with the goal of helping them launch freelance careers while they're still in college.
That was 1 minute, folks. It was on the dot. It was on the dot. Not
Now
too bad.
fact check us if you're on whatever video.
We have the timestamps.
Not too bad.
We do have the timestamps. Not bad. That's an A. Good. Good
I don't
work.
know, that kind of sounds like a B+ from you.
I'll give it an A.
I missed the competitive differentiation, and I missed IP. I don't know.
That's all right, but obviously,
We'll give you a pass.
For you though, it's like when was the aha moment that this needed to be started, and what do those early steps look like?
Yeah, so I was an undergrad. I was a sophomore, and I'd always had a thing for film. I'd always had a thing for making videos. I was really excited to do this with y'all tonight. And I was stuck between an on-campus job doing media services, doing a couple of really cool, fun student projects, and like kind of running down these internships that had nothing to do with what I wanted to do or what I was good at, or what I was passionate about. And it felt like the college job landscape felt very binary. It was this false dichotomy between an unpaid internship and an on-campus job. And it felt like, where is the middle? For me as a videographer, I just happened to start finding these opportunities and these projects. I didn't even know it was freelancing, so I didn't know what to call it in the early days, but I just knew there was something there, something fuzzy. And I felt like there was an opportunity. And I stood outside at the Brown University dining hall with 100 surveys at lunchtime, with like 10 questions of, hey, do you have a marketable skill that you feel lacks a marketplace where you can provide that? Something very hypothetical. And
Very raw market research there.
And I just, kids streaming out, student athletes streaming out. No one wanted to look at me. I'm short now. I was shorter then. And,
I can relate.
like 9 out of 10 people would totally ignore you. It's kind of demoralizing, putting yourself out there physically. But, every so often I get a sign up, and I stood there. And so I had 100 other people fill this thing out. And sure enough, because I, framed the question a certain way, I had like 85% of people were like, yeah, I have that problem. Awful way to do market research. I could have done a better questioning, which we'll talk about.
No, you
But armed with, my personal experience, knowing that at least one person in the world had this problem, and that, 80, 85 other students from Brown might have that problem, I jumped to the worst possible conclusion, which was, let's go build an app.
And here you are.
Here I am.
There is obviously a lot of value in the gig economy these days, right? In a freelance sort of economy. What's the pitch to companies now to kind of get on board? Like, what does Pangeaapp do that nobody else in the market does, and why companies essentially why they need to pay you to do it now?
When you think about Google, Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, all these companies, McKinsey, all of them spend millions of dollars every single year trying to recruit out of these universities, and it costs $1,200 to do a career fair. You got to have a whole team doing it. You got to have a whole structured program. Because when you think about the labor market, right, the labor pool, you have a big bucket, and every year you're retiring, moving on to it's kind of a little bit leaky. So you think about like how that bucket gets refilled, and there's a tap coming out of universities of all this amazing talent coming into the market, and all these really amazing companies are trying to compete with each other to try to get the best talent. But if you're a small company, a startup, an emerging brand, you don't have that infrastructure to go on and get all the individual campus career centers to approve you. I mean, you could do it through a platform called Handshake, but at the end of the day, you have to have UCLA, USC, Brown, Harvard, MIT. There's a career person approving you or denying. I got denied by UCLA. I think I applied for them 3 years ago, and I got my rejection. You know, and that was actually what caused us to pivot in this direction, because when we were just getting started, we were like a student classifieds, a student Craigslist of sorts, where students were buying and selling French lessons. We had Johnson & Wales students doing culinary stuff. It was fun, but it wasn't growing. And we were trying to hire students to help us out. And I got rejected by Brown University to post on their job board. And I went there, and you know, I think for me, I was like, there's all these. We talk about the Fortune 100, the Fortune 500. Well, how about the Fortune 5 million? The 5 million smaller employing companies, you know, that could access and leverage this amazing talent pool. Those are the kind of people we're designing for, building for, and helping today.
Now, how are you getting your mission and your story out to student workers?
It's been 80% word of mouth. So a lot of it's students telling their friends. A lot of TikTok. We've had a couple videos on TikTok that have gotten us some really amazing reach. And we actually hire and engage our own Pangeans to work with us as growth marketing freelancers to go out there and help us find more people. So, you know, we eat our own dog food, so to speak. You know, one of the most popular ways that companies have been engaging with emerging talent is junior level marketing talent. You know, you don't have to pay someone $100 an hour to run your Instagram for you necessarily. Some companies, that makes more sense. But for us, you know, you have amazing talent pool, people who are digital natives, who spend all day on social media, they understand what's trending. And they have networks of people who have, and they have audiences, and they're basically micro-influencers. So we've been using our own products, and students generally have been hearing about us from other students. We haven't run a single ad set yet targeting students.
So as you scale, obviously, you can make the argument that's not necessarily sustainable, right? So what's the master plan, right? You know, how does Pangea expand? How does it become widespread? You know, how do you get into those markets? How do you do it, you know, without necessarily spending all your bank accounts on it, basically?
Yeah, well, there's three ways to grow, right? You have marketing-led growth, you know, paying for a Snapchat ad or Instagram ad. You've got sales-led growth, which is, you know, you hire an SDR to go out there, generate leads, pass it off to a BDR, and then an account exec, you know. And then you have product-led growth, and I think this is where we're seeing a lot of really exciting stuff happen today, where the product becomes a vehicle for acquiring users, and most often this is, you know, some kind of referral incentive. But there's all these other viral growth loops that companies have done. Eventbrite's a good example. So, you know, I have our team. We just actually hired a growth marketer this week. And think about those three things on both sides. So, you know, over the next year, we're going to be running a ton of experiments to figure out, hey, what are all the channels that we could possibly conceive to get really high-quality talent, really high-quality clients, and bring them into the product, and then set the product up in a way that they find value in it quickly and retain really highly. So it's a holistic approach. It isn't going to be like a you know, one-size-fits-all thing. And, you know, there's been really successful companies that have grown, you know, with word of mouth and consumer marketing, and I think that's, you know, that's what you want to strive for, but there's other means that you can experiment with. I'd love to ultimately become, you know, partners with the universities and career centers, and, you know, have them view this as part of their stack, where maybe they have a handshake or something for the internships and career fairs, but for all the freshmen, all the sophomores, all the more entrepreneurial students who basically want to start their own businesses, find their own clients, hey, Pangea becomes a trusted partner for them to launch, grow their businesses, and manage their client books.
Yeah, because a lot of times it's not an internship. You know, it's like, hey, I need 20 hours of work, or I need a photographer, I need something that wouldn't be necessarily identified as an internship, but on the resume they can still put it as whatever the hell they want.
I mean, 50% of the U.S. workforce is contractors.
Yeah.
Already, and, you know, this includes, you know, general contractors, but most people in the U.S., like, they don't work as a traditional W-2 employee anymore. It's a massive shift in the labor market, and internships, as we think about them, are structured for that old world. So we start thinking about how do internships look in the 21st century? And how do we help students get experience, make some money, but help out more companies and increase the number of opportunities? Because like I mentioned before, there's 100 to 500 companies, right, that can run your traditional internship programs. The 4 to 5 million can't. Not everyone can provide the level of mentorship and structure, but not every student needs that. For the more intrepid self-starters, and she is a great place for them.
Now, you obviously went to Brown, but you're from New York. So why'd you stay in Rhode Island?
Shucks out.
Why is Rhode Island a place to start a startup, start a business, and maintain it?
You have to be pragmatic when you're starting a company, right? So when I was graduating, we had, I was fortunate enough to graduate with no college debt, but I didn't have a lot of money, right? Especially for paying for things. And, I moved to New York or San Francisco or Boston. I don't know how I was going to afford rent. So I moved into a house with my co-founders and our team, and I got set up. I was paying several $100s a month in rent. Really. And the thing is, when you're starting a company, it's great to be in ecosystems where there's some depth to it, but really, we just had to work hard, and we had a lot of code and a lot of hours to do. And nowadays, you can build and launch companies from anywhere. I think COVID has accelerated. We're a bit ahead of the curve. But we got into Y Combinator based in Rhode Island, and that might have been unheard of 3 years ago. So we saved a ton of beer. We saved a ton of money, and as a result, gave ourselves so much more time to experiment, to make mistakes, to fail. Because as an entrepreneur, you're so rarely going to get it right on the first time. We hear about the stories. Oh yeah, Facebook, fine. He turns it on and it goes ballistic. That is 0.00001% of companies and 0.0001% of successful startups. A lot of times it takes time. And it took us 2.5 years of screwing up and fucking up to find the thing that started to get some momentum. And we still make mistakes all the time. And we still have a tremendous amount to learn. And if we have done this in any other, we would have died long before we discovered any of that. And we'd have never have known. And, it would have been kind of an alternate reality. So had I not done this in Rhode Island, I would not be where I am today. And I'm incredibly constructive and bullish on the Rhode Island ecosystem. I mean, you can't see this on camera. We have like 100 people out here in this bar. Yeah. People who are starting companies, who want to be around people starting companies, who support those folks, who are energized and enthusiastic and really high quality, really intelligent. And Rhode Island and Providence is becoming what I believe is going to be one of the next tech startup ecosystems because it's incredibly pragmatic. You're 45 minutes from Boston. You got Brown, RISD, PC. You got 10%. Brian. Our first sales hire came out of Bryant.
Yeah, don't disrespect me.
I'm not disrespecting. We got Brown, Johnson and Wales, Bryant, RISD. That was the core team. It's now expanding. So incredibly constructive. 10% of the population during the school year is college students. And 2 hours from New York, I might get some negative point. I view Rhode Island as almost being like the suburbs of Boston or New York.
It's fair.
If you don't need a lot of sleep and you can drive or hop on the train, you can be in those ecosystems and tap into them, and they're huge and they're merging. So if you're willing to make the drive, the commute, the world opens up to you in a really big way. So at least I am, and I've been able to leverage it. I don't know if anyone else is, other people are willing to, but you look around this room and clearly there are a lot of people who are figuring out and discovering the same thing that we did.
It's a very good point. And before we let you go, too, YC, that's a very elite program. You mentioned it, too. It's like a Rhode Island company getting into Y Combinator. I mean, that's almost unheard of. How was that? Take us through that experience. Must have been a few months. I don't know what exactly their timeline is that they take you through their pipeline, but you must have some stories coming out of YC.
I mean, even it being remote, it was nuts. I mean,
I didn't realize that this was all remote.
It was remote, so it was in the middle of COVID. I mean, we did this we were in the winter 21 batch.
Oh, yeah.
So we got accepted in October, early November of 2020. And then we did it for it was January, and then demo day. They culminated in this big event where they have 2,500 investors come out to this thing, and you get 1 minute. I was going to say, the 1 minute demo.
And your pitch wasn't bad now, so I guess that one was pretty good.
I was drawing on it from memory, and it's gotten better, I think.
I would hope so.
But that was, an incredibly high leverage moment in time. In 3 months, you basically, it's an excuse to literally end everything else we're doing in life and just focus. Our whole team lived in a house together pretty much on the east side of Providence, and we turned the first floor of our house into our office. We got standing desks and monitors, whiteboard. I mean, you get out of any of these programs what you put in. Y Combinator is not going to make them successful. And the overwhelming majority of companies that have gone through it haven't turned out well. Now they have become outliers, Airbnb, and Stripe, and OpenSea, and Reddit, and DoorDash, who've done tremendously well. Being in an ecosystem with other founders who have that level of thinking and talking with, our partner was the first employee at Yahoo. He was there when they were zero. He was there when they went to 70 billion, and he was there when they came down back to 1 billion. Billion is a lot of money, but when you're at 70, it's a long way to fall. And one of the most important things I've learned as a startup founder, and I learned this from Tim Brady, was the importance of keeping a level head through all of the ups and downs of a startup. And I can tell you, since we got the YC, the rate at which the highs have come and the amplitude of those, and the rate at which the lows and the amplitude of those have come has increased dramatically. So, having an advisor and mentor like we have in Tim has been tremendously helpful, and the network is incredible. So, at the end of the day, it's on us to make our company successful. YC's not going to do that for us, but it certainly has given us a shot, and it's a shot that I'm not gonna waste.
Not throwing away a shot, as Hamilton would say, right?
Adam, no, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much. Before we let you go, where can our listeners find Pangea online, interact with your content, and any promotions that you want to give? The floor is yours.
Absolutely. So if you're a student, follow us on TikTok. We're posting engaging content there, also Instagram. Add me on LinkedIn. I'm Adam Alpert. Follow us on LinkedIn. If you're a company looking to hire, go post a job. It's free. Any company that hires as a result of listening to this program, we're going to give you a $100 credit on the platform. So you come on, risk-free. We'll give you a $100 refund on your first invoice. So you pay nothing. So come try it out. If you're a student, you should be making money, gaining experience. If you're not freelancing, if you're not building your own clients, you're falling behind. So you better get on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Alpert from Pangea. Nice work, man. Good job.
Thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And best of luck to you as well, Adam. Best of luck.